Watch you guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at replacing a Nexus 7 digitizer, a bezel and an LCD screen. So we're going to need some tools, and we're going to need some tweezers, a metal prying tool here, another Isesimo prying tool, a plastic spudger and some screwdrivers. Now here is our digitizer. Now normally I would purchase these as one whole unit, a digitizer and an LCD all in one, but I've had these to hand and I wanted to make a video showing you how to replace just the digitizer and the bezel here and the LCD. Now the bezel will have some glue already on this one, and we will need to replace and put the pogos on the side here, so we're going to take those off the old bezel. The old bezel is a bit damaged, so we're going to replace it. And this is our LCD screen. Now as I said, it's much more better to use the one that come bonded together, okay, because you can't separate them. And we will take some of the components off of the old LCD screen and put them onto the actual new LCD screen here, okay. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we have our Nexus 7 with a smash screen here, and we're going to need to take off the backing here, and we're going to be using the Isesimo tool here to just pry off the back part, and this comes off really easy. And you may be thinking, why am I using a metal tool here? Well, it doesn't really make much difference really. We're not going to be damaging anything. You just got to be a bit more careful around here, but you can use a plastic one if you wish. But the Isesimo is a great tool for prying open devices. So we're just going to lever this off slightly. It's only held on with some plastic clips here. And just remove the backing, just like that. Should come away pretty easy. And there we have it. It's now free from the device. Just going to put that to one side here. So the next up, what we're going to do here is we're going to be removing the actual battery. So we're going to use our plastic spudger tool here just to release the actual connector, which is here. And this is our battery. As you can see, it takes up 3/4 of the actual device. So we'll just put a bit of pressure on this to release this. I'm going to use this plastic spudger. Now you probably won't see me doing much here because my big hand is in the way. But we're just going to lever from side to side, push on the left and then push on the right, and that should release that little connector there. So we're going to use our Isesimo tool here to pry out the battery. Now this has been glued down with some glue or glue strips, and we're just going to put a bit of pressure on it to try and lever this up, okay. Now sometimes these come out real easy, but this one seems to be fixed real tight. I'm just going to try to get my little prying tool underneath there to loosen the actual glue from the actual battery. Now you can't see much on this, but there is plenty of guides on YouTube that show a much more detailed tear down of this. This is more just what I did to my own device to fix it, okay. And you can see the glue on the side here. And the battery, it takes up 3/4 of the actual device. As you can see, it's quite a large battery. Now we've got this, we need to pull back this tape, which is going to show the ribbon cables underneath. So we're just going to pull this back gently because we're going to need this and re-stick this down. It's pretty tacky, so just pull this back. And there's a little tiny heat shield there, as you can see, that's come up. Don't worry about that, that's just hiding all the little chips underneath. So we're just going to keep pulling this back, and we'll reuse this tape afterwards once we've finished doing what we need to do. So just leave that resting there. And once that's done, we can get our spudger tool and we're going to remove some of these ribbons. So the first one we're going to have a go at is the LCD ribbon cable, and all you need to do here is this one here. You just need to lift this up, and here's the digitizer ones, and we're just going to pull this up with our spudger. Just clips on, so just rest it underneath and pop it up like so. Now we're going to tackle the digitizer So we're just going to pull these little clips back. You can use your spudger or your nail, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just pull those back and that will release that ribbon cable there. Now we won't need to worry about that because we're going to be replacing that digitizer. We just need to pull this other little ribbon cable back. Now I'll show you with my nail here. You can just clip that back and then try to release this little ribbon, or you can get your spudger underneath and just lift it up and that should loosen it straight out like so. Okay, so now we need to remove some screws from the device so we can release this and replace our screen. So we're just going to remove some of these screws around here. Now again, if you want a full tutorial on how to tear this down properly, then maybe this video is not the best for you. There's plenty of videos on there that show you a full close-up video of how to remove these. So I'm just going to remove some of these screws here. I won't bore you showing you the whole process of removing all these screws. I'm just going to show you a couple and move on to the next stage. Okay, so now we've removed those screws, we can now lift this out of the actual device. Release the motherboard from here. Just take it easy, just lift it up until it becomes free. I'm sorry this has come off a camera a bit here, but I just wanted to see what was holding it. There was something holding it down. I think it's a bit of tape on the bottom, and it is a bit of tape, a bit of glue tape, as you can see, and that's now released it. So now we've got the screen, the LCD screen here, and the broken digitizer away from the unit itself. Now if we take a look at the bottom here, you can see the copper part here. There's some glue on there which was stuck to the LCD screen. So we're going to take some parts off of this LCD screen in a moment. So let's take a look at the LCD screen itself here. So as you can see, we're going to put a new bezel on here, but if you wanted to get this one off, you would need to put some heat on this screen here along the edge here and then pry away to remove this bezel. I'm not going to show that part, but there is videos on YouTube that shows that part. As you can see, it's damaged, and we're going to replace that bezel with a new one. So here we have our brand new bezel and the old bezel. This is our new bezel, and all I've done is took the pogos off of the old one and put them into position here, and there's a little plastic clip that just clips them over. Real simple to put on, and this also comes with the glue strip already around the bezel here, so I don't have to worry about glue strips or anything like that. And here is the old bezel that I did remove with heat, which I didn't show in this video, but there is videos on YouTube that show that part. As you can see, all you'd need to do here, you can see the glue still on here, and some people suggest you can even use the glue. You can see it's still tacky, but you'd have to make sure all this inside area here would be clean from glass and free from glass, and you could reuse it. So here we have our brand new LCD screen. Now I'm not too worried about touching it with my bare hands at the moment because there is plastic covers on it, but we are going to remove all this copper tape here and put it over the other ribbons here, as you can see around the bottom, and there is that green protection on there, and we also need the little ribbon cable that goes in there. So let's first start off with the little ribbon cable here. I'm just going to put this into the new LCD screen, and that just slots in and then clips down, and I'm going to put the tape back over just how it was on the original. Now I could put this LCD straight in as is because it's covered with the green protector on the side there. It's covering all the chips and components, but I want to actually put the copper tape on there just in case there's any heat issues, which I don't think there would be, but I'm definitely going to put it on there. So I've cannibalized the old tape off the old LCD screen, and I'm just going to put it into position here and just tack that straight down. It's got enough tack on it, so I don't have to put any more glue or anything. Now, it may look a bit rough, but don't worry about it. You're not going to see it, and it will still serve a purpose. So there we've got our tape all on there now, and it does look a bit rough around there, but don't worry about it. You're not going to see it, but it is protecting those components. Okay, so now we've got our gloves on, and we are going to remove the protective coating from the LCD screen, and that's why I've got my gloves on. I don't know oily residue getting onto the LCD screen here, and it's important that we clean this once we remove the plastic film, so we don't get any residue left behind from that plastic film. Same thing with the digitizer. We're going to remove the protective coating and give that a clean before we put that onto the device. Now, if you bought an all-in-one which is bonded to the digitizer, you won't probably have to worry about this part, but since this is a separate digitizer and LCD screen, we have to do it. So here we have the bezel, and we're going to remove these plastic protection here, which has got the glue underneath, and also we're going to remove the coating where the screen's going to go into, okay, onto the bezel. So we need to make sure that all that's clean before we start doing the final gluing. I'm going to just peel this back like so, and then give that a good clean before we insert into there. Okay, now we can insert this now and then clean inside afterwards. We're just going to line this up at the front, make sure it's all lined up, and then slot that into place. Make sure the ribbon cable is on the inside, not the outside of the bezel. Now for the LCD screen, we're just going to peel this back, and then once we've peeled this back, we're still going to clean the LCD screen here just in case there's any oily residue or any marks or dust onto the LCD screen, because this is our only chance we're going to get. I'm going to line this up now into the bezel, and then line this up here until we get it set straight. And once we get that set straight, we're ready for the final stage. And just make sure that everything's sitting right how you want it before you do the final part. So now we're going to offer it up. Now make sure the ribbon cable comes through the little hole in the center there. You don't want to flap that down because you won't get no LCD display, as you see there in the center. Just line this up with the holes, and there should be enough tack or enough glue on the copper paper there, or copper tape, to hold the LCD on top as well. Now we just need to put our screws back in to hold this firmly down and give it a nice tight bond. I'm just going to show you a couple of screws here. And again, if you want a full tutorial on this, there is other videos on YouTube that will show you the full teardown. So then we're just going to put the final 2 screws in, and that should be good to go to put the ribbons back on. So now we need to put the LCD ribbon cable on. We're just going to clip that into place. You can use your finger. You should hear a little clicking noise, a little snap into position. So just replace the ribbon cable there. And then put the little clip back. Once you get a nice fixing on that, you want to get the digitizer ribbons and just slot them in. There's a little white line and you want to push that up as far as it'll go, and then just push the little clips back like so. You see me just put a bit of force on there and then clipping those back down. You can't really see much because my arm's in the way here, like so. Just give one last check. Now we're going to put the tape back with the little heat shield on there to protect those chips. Push that back down. Make sure we've got a nice fix in, which we have. So just make sure that's all nicely pushed down. Then we're going to offer up the battery and put the battery back in. I'll just push this right up to the front edge there and just put the connector back into the socket like so, and then on goes the back plate and that just snaps into position. So I'm just going to put a bit of pressure on this and clip it back into place. It's a nice easy part of the job. And then just go around with your fingers and clip it into position. And that's basically how you fix a digitizer, an LCD screen and a bezel on a Nexus 7. It's pretty straightforward, and as you can see it's quite a nice fit. So I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. If you enjoyed the videos, hit the like button guys, and also hit the subscribe button to keep you up to date with latest videos, and I shall see you again in the next video. So thanks again, bye for now.